Before February 6, my 4 children, my husband and I were living in the city, in the heart of Antakya. One night at 4:17 o'clock, we woke up in horror with our children. It was a very severe earthquake. I still get goosebumps when remember it. Our children and I tried to save our lives. But where to run? We live on the 5th floor in an apartment. We couldn't get ourselves out immediately. We were waiting for the earthquake to stop. The earthquake stopped, and this time we managed to run outside together with my children. The wardrobes, cloakroom, etc. had blocked the outer door. At first we couldn't open it, but God gave me such power that I was able to release it myself. Because I had to get my children out. And I did it. Because I know my profession well. There was a power outage and so on. Another closet. I myself moved away from the doors. It was upside down. I remembered that my car key was in the closet. Unless, of course, my car outside was damaged. Because it was still necessary to think about how to put the kids in the car and where to take them away. I pulled my car keys out of the closet and we rushed off with my kids. The second earthquake, also 7.6, caught us on the stairs. We were thrown to the left and right with my children. And fortunately, we threw ourselves out until the second earthquake was over. It was a nightmare outside. Everyone was trapped under the buildings after that apocalypse. The buildings had collapsed. Everything outside was in such a hell. Everyone was screaming for help, who left their parents inside, not being able to get their children out all the time. I took my children directly to the car. Fortunately, nothing fell on my car, but 99% of the cars were under the rubble. So, luckily for me, nothing happened to my car. I put the kids in my car, but that time the roads were blocked. Water tanks, huge piles of stones blocked the road. I don't know how we cleared that road with my children. I mean, that road could only be cleared with the help of an excavator, you know? And we cleared that road with my children in an effort to save our lives. I mean, we cleared it somehow. I don't know how, but the earthquake continued. Stones and rubble were falling from the roofs, but we didn't even pay attention to them. I mean, my only goal was to clear the road as soon as possible and go away with my children. Of course, in the meantime, everyone who survived, everyone who could get out from under the rubble was trying to do the same thing. That's why the traffic was paralyzed. The road was blocked, so we couldn't go anywhere. When the traffic stopped in the middle of the road, everyone stayed where they were. I mean, our gathering areas were limited. In other words, the areas where we could gather in such situations were very limited. We couldn't reach them anyway. We were definitely not prepared. The whole city was unprepared. I mean, we didn't know or prepare anything. The ground on which our houses were built is very soft. These were not earthquake-resistant houses at all. Even recently constructed buildings were destroyed. Even the buildings which were built only 2 years ago. We were waiting for the earthquake to stop. The whole city, all of us were on the streets with children until morning. We spent the whole morning outside. After what happened, of course, my house was not habitable, but it hadn't completely collapsed. If it had collapsed completely, we couldn't get out. All the apartment blocks around me collapsed. There were cracks in my house. It is no longer habitable. This time I said that we should go back and get some things from home. I mean, we left without socks and slippers. My children left without coats. It was raining, a very heavy rain. Of course it was cold. I said I had to go back and get something from home. It was actually a very wrong thing to do. But I went back home, came inside, got a coat, slippers and socks. I was caught by the earthquake again. I thought I would never get out of there again. After that, it started raining heavily. No food, no house and electricity. There is nothing at all. Just rumbling and people screaming under the rubble. From that moment, we were waiting for help. Thank God, our state didn't leave us without help. But of course, the possibilities are limited. I mean, the help came a little late. People tried to do something on their own. They tried to get their children out from under the rubble, which was almost impossible. Then we left our cars and set off for Alanya. Of course, our families and relatives were all trapped under the rubble. Families, as well as their children and spouses, were all under the rubble. But now everyone was worried about their own lives. Everyone wanted to save their children. Those who took their children went away. Unfortunately, our beautiful country was destroyed. No stone was left unturned. Thousands of our children died. There were no graves for the dead. They dug a hole with an excavator and buried the bodies in one grave. Of course, thousands of our people are still there. All of them are homeless now. All of them are on the street. In our region of Hatay, earthquakes are very frequent. In other words, there were small earthquakes. I heard about it from our grandfathers, and I heard a lot about how one day Hatay will be destroyed by an earthquake again. It is also in our history, but we never paid any attention to it, thinking it was just a rumor. But in fact, we knew that Hatay was an earthquake-prone area. And unfortunately, it caught us unprepared. Besides the earthquake, while we were trying to save ourselves and our children, there were also looters who unfortunately turned our pain into profit. Everyone left the city. And we left our homes. We left for our lives. Unfortunately, they entered our half-ruined houses and looted them. There are no jobs, no houses, no belongings left. Our people from Hatay are very helpful. They love each other. We all lived as brothers and sisters in Hatay until now. First of all, our people, of course, helped each other a lot, tried to heal each other's wounds. Before the earthquake, we had houses, even 2 houses, furniture, cleaned up, cars, and beautiful life until the night before.
Güzel
But
hayatlarımız
now,
vardı.
unfortunately,
Ama şimdi
thousands
maalesef
of people are homeless.
binlerce kişi
There
şu
are
an
no
evsiz,
workplaces.
iş yeri yok. Yani
So
şu
I
an
don't know how it will
artık
be from
tekrar
scratch,
sıfırdan, yeni
from
baştan
the beginning again.
nasıl olacak bilmiyorum. Şehri
After all, we
her
never
şeye
left
rağmen
the
terk
city.
edip gitmedik. Yani
Our Antakya
bizim
is a
Antakya
wonderful city. It's where
muhteşem
we
bir
opened
şehir.
our eyes.
Biz,
Our grandfathers, fathers,
gözümüzü
and
orada
our families
açtık.
have
Dedelerimiz,
always lived
babalarımız,
there.
ailelerimiz
We grew up
hep orada
there.
yaşadık, orada büyüdük.
I couldn't give it
Bir
up.
türlü vazgeçemedik.
Our beautiful
güzel
hometown of
memleketimizden.
Antakya is a city where people of
Antakya
all cultures
her
and
kültürden
nationalities
insanın,
live together
her
as
milletten
brothers and
insanın
sisters.
kardeş gibi bir arada yaşadığı bir şehir.
Our Antakya is a city of
Medeniyetler
civilizations.
şehridir bizim Antakya'mız.
We loved it very
Biz çok
much.
seviyorduk. Bütün bu
Despite all
söylentilere
these
rağmen
rumors, we
bırakıp
couldn't leave
gidemedik
our city.
şehrimizi.
We invite eyewitnesses of climate disasters, as well as anyone who has specific knowledge of such events, to be interviewed. Please contact us, share your story. For the whole world to know the truth, participation of every person is important.